My name is Palma Accardi, and you are watching Tidal Flooding Talk. We are brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition and filmed live on Sunday nights most of the time at the Irish Pub.
And I'm meteorologist Dan Skeldon. Thanks for joining us. We are back at the pub for the week 2 of the relaunch in these COVID times. We are socially distanced. So Palma's way on the other side of a indoor restaurant where we are the only ones in here. So the Irish Pub is some great patio dining outside. Today some good weather for it. Tuesday not so much. And here to tell us a little bit about why Tuesday may not be so great, and this will probably be the focal point of our discussion tonight, is Press of Atlantic City meteorologist Joe Martucci. Joe, we'd normally shake your hand right now.
Fine. I'll give you like an elbow.
Instead, something like that.
Side. Dan, did you do this on purpose? Asked me to come when you asked me like 2 weeks ago. Did you know this was going to happen?
I did. You're always a very timely guest. There's always something to talk about when Joe Martucci's here.
Yes.
So we are going to talk a lot about the storm, the potential impacts, break down everything you want to know about Tuesday's storm in South Jersey and how it will impact the area. And of course, take your questions and comments and concerns too. And
absolutely.
And Palm is actively scrolling our Facebook feed. So if you have a question or comment for Joe, myself, or Palma about the storm, feel free to post it.
Okay.
And
Let's
I
do it.
have the first question is how to pronounce this storm.
Yes.
The name of the storm.
Yeah, the I storm. So it is Isaias or Isaias. It's that third syllable that you have the hard E for. So it's now that I'm thinking too much about it, I can't even pronounce it. It's
right.
Isaias. There we go.
Isaias.
It is the Spanish and Portuguese form of the word Isaiah. And I know it's maybe giving some people trouble over the past couple of weeks, but I don't think anybody will forget the name of the storm by the time we get towards Tuesday and Wednesday. I believe in us. I think we'll have a good idea how to say the name.
And one of the reasons it's a hard to pronounce name. Now, the names in the Atlantic Ocean are chosen from the French, English, and Spanish languages because those are the languages spoken by areas impacted by hurricanes. Yes. And believe it or not, the letter I has the most number of retired names.
Yes, that is correct, Ed. Yes.
Out of all the storms. And when you think about it, there's not a lot of I names to begin with. So we've retired so many of them that now we are using some of the lesser known names and this one comes from I think Argentina. It's of Spanish and Portuguese descent, but it's a popular name in Argentina.
You know, I'll do you one here with the Isaias. So it was a retired, it came because of retired storms, but actually, so we have the record for the most active hurricane season, on record so far in 2005. The I storm in 2005 was Irene, which also came here. So a little bit of a meteorological fun fact for you today.
A viewer, Michael, said they should retire the letter I.
Hey,
it is a rare name. We had Ike and Igor and Ivan and Irene in 2011. They were retired. There are 5 letters. And Palma, I'm going to pose this question to you because it's a guess. All right. There are 5 letters out of the 26 that we do not use because they are so rare for names that we don't even bother using the letters in the list of storms. So
let's see.
Name X.
X, yes.
Q.
Yeah, Q.
Those are definitely the two most.
Those are 2 good ones. Those are the high points on the Monopoly board.
Oh, it's
or
all
the,
I'm the only guesser?
Yes, you're the only guesser.
Okay. U. Okay.
You're in the good region of the alphabet for this.
Q, U, X, and Y and Z.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there were a lot of Z possibilities.
I think they're becoming a little more popular now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Q, U, X, Y, Z, if your name begins with those letters, you'll never have an Atlantic hurricane named after you.
I don't even know what the reason for that is. It's just because it's rare in the names? Is that all?
Tough to come up with the names.
And
might have to this year.
And then if we run out of names, let's say there's 21 letters, it goes all the way to W. What do we do then, Joe?
Then we go to the Greek alphabet.
The Greek alphabet, which we had to use in 2005.
Yes, we did alpha, beta,
Hurricane
that's
Delta,
yes.
Epsilon, Gamma. So we use Greek letters.
My Greek alphabet is not the highest.
I think I listed the 5 that I knew
there
as
you
well. So this one is the I storm, and I always joke that we should just like the Washington football team, Redskins, and it's just the Washington football team now.
Right.
We should just call this the I Storm. And
That's a good one. I would totally be about that.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, for
I
the rest
already
of this
forget
discussion,
how to pronounce it.
all right,
You've
well,
just told me.
we're going to talk about the I Storm
Yes.
coming up here on Tuesday, well, Monday night, Tuesday, and a Tuesday night, and all the potential impacts. And again, if you have questions, if you have concerns, I think many are equating it to a strong nor'easter. It's
Yeah.
not going to be a Sandy. It's not going to be a significant hurricane, but it is going to have an impact, and it's going to be like a strong nor'easter, minus, of course, the snow and cold and ice.
Right. The way I've been saying it, it's kind of like Faye, just with more wind. That's the way
That's
I've
a
been
good way
kind
to
of.
point it
You know,
as
I
well.
think and we'll talk about this. I think the rain will be about the same, though there's going to be this streak of really heavy rain that we're going to see where that is. But we have the rain, we have a little bit of coastal flooding with this. The rip currents are dangerous, but we're going to have more wind with this than we did during Faye, which was really breezy.
Just the rain.
It
That
was,
was it.
it was rain. It was
Yeah.
breezy, but it was just like any breezy day.
Right.
Nothing incredible.
Right.
Joe, you mentioned a couple options I saw on your Facebook post. It going over New Jersey or
Mhm.
missing it. Can you
Yeah.
explain that a little bit about what could happen either or?
Yeah, so, at this point in time, National Hurricane Center has pretty much New Jersey right in the middle of the cone. And that cone is the 2/3 probability where that storm could actually be, the center of the storm. So, yes, it could be outside the cone, but for all intents and purposes, we're going to say it's inside of there. If we have a track that's, on the eastern side, which would take it like just out to sea, like maybe 50 miles off the Jersey Shore. Well, then we have a stronger storm, but we also have we're going to be on the weaker side of the storm. The western side of the storm is typically where you're not seeing the strongest wind, at least from that standpoint. If it's something where it's more inland, where it does make landfall, and Dan, you can agree or disagree with me, but if it makes landfall in South Carolina and pretty much just rides up the shore, really I-95 at that point, then we might have a remnant storm. Maybe it's a tropical depression, but we're on that stronger side of the storm. So I kind of think it's more of like this 6 of one and half dozen of another kind of situation. I think the only, the real question marks we have is who's going to see that band of 2.5 to 5 inches of rain, and how much coastal flooding we see from this. And that's going to be also determined on the speed of the storm as well.
Right. And I think if you look at the storm track, it's to the left of the storm where the heaviest rain sets up, which is most likely going to be I-95 corridor north and
Correct.
west in
Most
Pennsylvania.
likely.
Now, I mean, if the shore gets 2 to 4 inches and I-95 north and west gets 4 to 6,
Yeah.
it's still a lot of rain for everybody.
Still a lot of rain.
But the heaviest rain is to the left of the track, which is probably not going to be South Jersey. It's going to be eastern PA and North Jersey.
Correct.
But to the east of the track, or to the right-hand side of the track, that's where the wind and maybe a threat of a tornado and the tidal flooding would be a little more significant.
Absolutely, and we should say, too, there's a flash flood watch in effect for all of us here from 6 a.m. Tuesday to 6 p.m., or 6 a.m. on Wednesday as well.
Yep.
And how does now we have a full moon,
Yeah.
so how is that going to influence the ice storm?
Yeah, the ice storm. So maybe we can tag team here, Dan, but I would say it's not good that you have a full moon when there's a approaching tropical storm. During Faye, we didn't have a full moon. We were in the quarter moon, and that saved us a lot from the actual coastal flooding, even though our rainfall flooding was pretty significant in spots. But it'll make tides higher. It depends on the exact track and path of the storm. If it's a fast-moving storm where it's moving 25 or 30 miles an hour, maybe we just get this one round of coastal flooding Tuesday during the evening high tide, which is between 9 to 11 p.m. I think it's going to be minor flood stage, if anything, but these things are going to be very sensitive to the exact track. It's like a nor'easter with snow. 30 miles can make a difference with wind direction, and it definitely will make it impact on what the heaviest axis of the rain will be.
And as usual, I agree with my colleague,
Good, I'm glad we're on the same
where
page
it's
here.
minor tidal flooding.
Yes.
I think there's a chance for some low-end moderate, but in a situation like this, you're going to have 2 to 4 inches of rain, add this flooding to, say, Atlantic City. Then you're going to have some minor tidal flooding, at this much flooding. And obviously there's no line distinguishing the two. It is going to be flooding along the shore. There's going to be flooding farther inland from poor drainage and flash flooding in creeks and streams.
Yeah.
But as far as the tidal flooding aspect, it's probably minor flooding. Tuesday, both high tides possibly are the potential. But because the storm is not moving slow, it's moving fairly quickly, it's going to limit that possibility. So as far as ranking, and this is your chance to agree or disagree, I would say rain would be the primary factor for everybody, then followed a little bit lower by wind, then tidal flooding, and then that low risk for a tornado. And that's kind of how I would rank the scale.
I'm with you 100%. You know, we can throw in rip currents as well and high surf as well for offshore. But I agree with you 100%.
And you know some surfers, right? So I mean, should people be out in the
She's
water?
In the scene.
Well, the question is from people off camera is how is this going to affect the surf? And when is the best time to surf this storm eye?
Safe.
Dan,
Safely.
Dan, don't you love these questions? Because it's we
if
had this.
If you know how to surf
Yes.
well enough.
Yes, I love these questions because you get these, like during Faye, for example. You're telling everybody, don't go in the water, don't go in the water, don't go in the water. Who texts you? The people who are surfing. Hey, when can I go surfing? Hey, when can I go surfing? It's often
so you don't want to put people in harm's way.
That is correct.
But you know people are going to be out there chasing the waves. And in a situation like, I mean, again, if it's high surf and rip currents, you're not supposed to be out there.
Yes.
But if there's a major Category 1 or 2 hurricane coming up the coast, you know, I think it's almost foolish. If there's a tropical storm, you know, is it safer to I mean, again, you never want to recommend people to do it, but you know people are going to do it.
I think Dan put it very nicely. I think we'll leave it at that.
So neither of you answered the question.
I'm going to plead the fifth.
We
I'm
can
going to
never
plead the fifth on this
encourage
one.
people,
Yes.
I think, as professional meteorologists, to go in the water, you know, when lifeguards are not going to be on duty, because they will not be on duty Tuesday, because, you know, everything's going to be closed.
I will not be in the water.
And I will not be in the water.
There you go.
But I'm
I
sure,
respect
there will be surfers
Are you going
that
in the
are
water?
going to be
No,
in the
I
water.
don't do that.
Okay. That's just
Not me.
And let's see, what else do we got? The speed and the timing of this. So when would the rain be the heaviest and the winds be the strongest?
All right, so we can talk about this again. The rain is very interesting. I'm going to say definitely it's right before the storm's closest approach. A lot of the heavy rain is going to be slightly ahead of the storm, so Tuesday afternoon to Tuesday evening. But there's something that we can talk about sometimes when you have this trough, which is an area of upper level low pressure interacting with the tropical system, something called a predecessor rain event, which can happen like Monday night into Tuesday, where you see a lot of tropical moisture kind of getting funneled into New Jersey, and you can get a lot of heavy rain from that. I think that looked to be maybe more of a possibility over the weekend. A lot of the model guidance has backed off on it a little bit. So I would say, we're definitely talking about a Tuesday, afternoon and evening with a lot of heavy rain from it. You can think about Faye. Faye, the heaviest rain was during the morning, but landfall didn't happen until, I think it was like 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. So something like that. And again, we're still trying to figure out where this heavy band of rain is going to set up, where we can see 3, 4, 5 inches of rain. To Dan's point, it looks likely now it's going to stay to the west of our area. I don't see a scenario where the shore is getting those extreme amounts, but it's possible, Bridgeton, Millville, Hamilton could, if you get that storm track that's on the eastern end of that forecast cone envelope.
And I will say, up in eastern Pennsylvania this morning, there was as much as 3 to 6 inches of rain in parts of eastern Pennsylvania.
Reading broke a record, right?
It broke a record. Yes. So you're going to get 3 to 6 inches of rain last night and this morning, and 3 to 6 inches of rain Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I mean, some places are going to have a foot of rain in 4 days, which is just obviously way too much.
Yeah.
That's the processing rate event that you talked about.
Yeah.
Thankfully, nothing like that in South Jersey, but pockets of in the eastern PA and New Jersey as a whole that did see some heavier rain this weekend, or perhaps Monday and Monday night, are going to be a little more prone to flood.
Yeah,
it's just like raining into a wet sponge. The rain is nowhere to go.
Exactly.
Now, at the very least, people should definitely take in their outdoor furniture and things like that. What else would you guys recommend people do to prepare for this type of storm?
Yeah, you said taking in outdoor furniture. That's a good idea. If your basement usually floods, maybe you rent out the wet vac. Now just to have it ahead of time. Do you need to board up windows? I'll leave that to you guys. I do think we're talking about a period of tropical force sustained winds, which are over 39 miles an hour. I think you'll be okay if you don't do it, but if you feel safe doing it, I think that's a good idea. The one thing with these tropical storm force winds, they're not going to last very long. We're talking about a couple of hours at most, of this. And so I think those are, good things to know. Make sure you have extra batteries in your flashlight, because the power can go out. That's a real possibility. Make sure, you keep your refrigerator and fridge cold, just in case the power goes out. Maybe have some extra ice for that. But we're not talking about an evacuation situation or, oh my God, we're going to be without power for a week and, what do we do? It's not that kind of setup.
And again, a strong nor'easter where, stuff can blow around. Now, granted, nor'easters happen in the wintertime. A bad nor'easter has wind gusts to 60 miles an hour, maybe 70, and we could see that with this. I think that's the higher end, up to about 70. Now, hurricane force is 75, so I don't think it will exceed that. A couple computer models suggest it, a little higher up. I don't think it will get all the way down.
Maybe at the top of ocean.
Perhaps, top of the casino, we'll have to watch the ball.
Watch the ball.
But I think a healthy 40 to 60 would be your range, maybe with some higher gusts locally. And that can cause power outages, like Joe said. And also just remember, when nor'easters blow around 60-mile-an-hour winds, people don't have outdoor stuff outside. Now in the summertime, every deck is full of outdoor stuff.
Right.
So, make sure the umbrella's out of the table. I lost an umbrella like that in a thunderstorm. I lost a table where the umbrella blew, shattered the glass table, and lost the patio table. So you want to make sure the umbrella's down, the
Is that where
chairs
the
are
meme
in.
came from? Where it says storm hits South Jersey and it's just like an umbrella.
It could have been.
Dan, are you a meme now? Are you a meme?
I think I have been, yes.
Wow.
Well,
that's when you made it.
Ellen Carr, I know you guys touched on this before, asks about any tornado concerns.
Yeah, so anytime you have a tropical system, there is potential for tornadoes. And the reason why they have these in a hurricane or tropical storm, hurricane, you get these little supercells within them, which are privy to developing tornadoes. Plus, it's just a very moist tropical environment. There's a lot of energy for the storm to feed on. Now, a lot of these tornadoes, as we see 90% of the time in New Jersey, are weak. They're your EF0 or EF1 tornadoes. They'll bring some damage, but it's not the very significant tornadoes that we'll see elsewhere. Also, water spouts. We can see water spouts. So there's always a threat for it. It's just something to keep in the back of your mind. But remember, tornadoes are really, really small in the grand scheme of things. It's not like, even when you say isolated tornadoes, 99% of South Jersey is going to be fine when you say that.
I'd say 99.9%.
Yeah, you can go up to 99.
And you're right, tornadoes are very local. So let's say the entire Jersey Shore sees 60-mile-an-hour gusts, and let's say there's a tornado on the north end of Brigantine. A couple of neighborhoods will see 80-mile-an-hour winds in that very brief tornado. So the tornadoes are not going to be significant. They're weak. They can happen. When Irene made landfall, there were a bunch of tornado warnings for South Jersey. No tornadoes touched down. It was a lot of spin up in the cloud. A tornado touched down in Lewis, Delaware, from Irene. So so don't be surprised on Tuesday for a tornado watch to go up along the shore for the potential of tornadoes. I think that's the lower concern. Rain, wind, tidal flooding, tornado.
Exactly.
Tornadoes at the end. It's not a non-concern, but it's not a major concern either.
I see here not too many questions, mostly hellos. And Carl Raymond said, I'll be in the water for sure when the winds cooperate.
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Now, how quickly will the storm pull away? And with the counterclockwise swirl around a storm, are we going to get those coveted offshore winds on Wednesday, where there will be a little surf behind this departing storm?
Yeah. Oh, is that a question?
I'm sorry. To be a question.
Yeah,
So how quickly will the storm move out? And let's just talk about post-storm, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Of course, economically, all these businesses, including the Irish pub here, if you haven't been, great patio outside.
Sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
they're working hard to serve you. They're open not 24 hours a day, but Tom, correct me if I'm wrong with a nod. 11:30 a.m. to midnight. Is that correct? 11 a.m. to midnight.
11:30 to midnight.
11:30 a.m. to
midnight. Plenty of time.
So obviously these outdoor businesses probably aren't going to be open on Tuesday.
That is absolutely correct. And we should say too, for prep for people who have businesses, if you're doing outdoor dining, you're going to want to take that stuff in.
That's a very good point. And the tents, a lot of people have tents in the parking lot too. You're either going to have to make sure those are, I don't know, some of the really high grade ones can withstand 67-hour winds. Others are going to have to take it down and then reassemble it. So that's a very good point.
And that's why we have a tropical storm watch. Like, now is the time to prepare. When you get into the tropical storm warning, which is going to be probably sometime tomorrow afternoon, that's when you should really stop your preparations or, finish up anything last minute. So, now's the time to prepare. Tomorrow's the time to prepare. Once we get to tomorrow night, don't think you can wake up Tuesday morning and, take out everything because, that's when the impacts are going to start here.
Sorry if I mispronounced this name. Mike Oxley.
Okay. Hey, Mike.
He wants Dan to give a shout out to his pups, Buddy and Lucky. They miss you, Dan.
Oh, all right.
Mike
Buddy and Lucky?
Yep.
All right.
Buddy and Lucky.
And I have two pups as well. They're 5, but I still call them pups, Reese and Rosie. And they might be watching back in Egg Harbor Township right now. So I'll give a shout out to your 2 and my 2. And I'm a big dog person, so they don't like the active weather. They don't like the thunderstorms. They don't like the heat. They love the snow.
Okay, well that's good.
Kind of like me. I don't like the heat, but I love the snow.
They fit your family perfectly.
There you go.
I'm glad to hear that.
And Roberta Bonds wants to know what time AC will be hit.
Okay, so, Atlantic City, we're going to start, you can start getting some rain late Monday night. The worst of it, again, is going to be Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening here. The National Hurricane Center does have the closest approach to the storm sometime right around sunset, so right around 8 o'clock on Tuesday. So, we're talking about, I would say, 24 hours worth, 24 to 30 hours of some kind of impact, but it's going to be minor for the most part until we get to the afternoon and the evening on Tuesday.
So what do you think, like 3 to 9?
Yeah, like
2 to 10, maybe like that 8 hour, something along
something
those
like
lines?
that, yeah. 2 to 10, 2 to 10, 2 to 10, 3 to 9.
And it could be a situation where you wake up Tuesday morning and you say, geez, those meteorologists, nothing's going on.
Darn meteorologists.
It's a little breezy, there's a
Beach
shower or
Right.
two.
Yeah.
Why did I close my business
Yes.
for this? It's not going to be a solid 24 hours. Remember Sandy, that started, and that was 5 rounds of tidal flooding. A couple major rounds. That was 48 hours of rain. That was 60 hours of wind. This is not like that. It's a tropical storm. It's, some rain, some wind, little tidal flooding, and that tornado threat with some rip currents.
Right. We've been through worse.
Right.
We've been through worse.
Now, how about people's commute to work? When should they be checking for flooding and things like that?
In the afternoon, when that rain really gets going, we have low tide at I believe 2 to 4 p.m. So that's good news for like Route 40 over here and Route 30. But there could be flooding from the rain alone. I don't know how much of a day you're going to be able to get in. 5, 6 o'clock. We're really going to be in the thick of it then. So who knows? Maybe it's if you're working your standard 8 to 5 or 9 to 6. Dan and I, as we know, weather is never, very rarely 9 to 5 or whatever. But that afternoon hours, that's when you should really be checking.
Yeah, I think the morning commute will be better than your evening
Absolutely.
commute. I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
And again, things aren't going to be impassable. It's going to be like a nor'easter. You travel
Right.
on a nor'easter. Now, some roads are going to be flooded, whether it be from tidal flooding or from heavy rain, or if there is a downed whatever, a tree
could
or
be a
whatever.
downed tree,
So
sure.
obviously, you never want to go across down power lines. You never want to drive through flooded roadways, which people do all the time. That's something else. Don't surf. Don't go in the water. People go in the water. Don't drive through flooded roadways. How many, I lived in Ocean City for 13 years, and I can't tell you how many storms you see people driving, get stalled out, have to leave their car. They don't get washed away like they do in the Midwest when you have rapid rivers flooding, but so many cars have been damaged or lost altogether for people driving through flooded roadways. More dangerous at night when you don't know how deep the water is.
Right.
But even during the day, you don't necessarily know how deep that water
And people
is.
don't realize that not only are they damaging their own vehicle, but it can also cause damage to other people's properties, because with the water just sitting there, a home may not have been flooded, but once you create that wake by driving through it, you could push water into people's homes or
Yep.
damage their
Yeah,
property as well.
Absolutely. We saw it in, I was in Ventnor for Faye, and there was a truck or a car that drove by, and it, creates this little 6-inch wave, and gets up to the lawn where it wasn't before, and, especially when you're, in a minor flood stage, maybe not that big of a deal, but in a moderate flood stage, that could be the difference, an extra 6 inches between going into someone's house or not going into someone's house.
I mean, how frustrating would you be as a homeowner? You're sitting there watching the water. All right, I got 6 inches, and then someone speeds on by, and that wake brings the water in. I mean, it's unnecessary travel.
Absolutely.
And you shouldn't be traveling on flooded roadways. Now, I will tease this that where the Coastal Coalition is in a project where we're working on an app, where it is going to help you see where flooding is ongoing. To the street actually, or where the good ways are and bad ways are to go, and of course we have our webcam up at Sea Isle, where that's a flood hot spot, and you can look right down, and we want more of those webcams as well. So it's one of the many projects we're working on, and again, just to spread the awareness on tidal flooding, which will happen this time, not significantly, but it is just kind of one of the many elements that our ice storm may bring.
Right.
Now, I do have a few Facebook questions here. Candy Thomas Clark asks how bad the winds will be.
Okay. So, if you're living along the shore, I believe you're banking on some small period of tropical storm force winds. It might be 30 minutes. It might be up to, I'm going to say, 4 hours at most. If you're not along the shore, we're talking about a windy day, but not a day we haven't seen before. We've had plenty of severe winds this year, whether it was from thunderstorms or other factors. It's going to be enough where you want to take in your lawn furniture, take in that hanging plant you have. Again, if you're a restaurant owner, take in your outdoor dining that you have. I think it's really at shore, where you do have tropical storm force sustained winds, and we should clarify, sustained winds are the winds that are consistently blowing. The gusts happen in brief spurts. And Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong with this. I believe if tropical storm force winds or if you're getting tropical storm force winds, emergency personnel does not come out.
They're
I believe
told
so.
not to,
I think that's the threshold. Sustained tropical storm force winds.
Right. So just something to keep in mind as well.
As Joe said, they will be brief. And let's say it takes a track up I-95 counterclockwise. Your winds are probably going to come from the southeast, and then the south, and then the southwest. Then they'll go calm for a little bit as it's not an eye of a storm, but the center of the storm passes over you, and then it shifts to the surfer-friendly northwest winds behind the storm, which probably won't be as strong, just because also south-southeast winds come off the ocean along the shore, less friction, and they'll be a little stronger on areas that are open to the south-southeast.
Right.
Kelly Agnes wants to know, is Philly getting hit? Flight coming in at 6:30 p.m.
Yeah,
Do we expect flights on Tuesday to be delayed or canceled?
I would say the morning's going to be okay. It's the afternoon and especially the evening where there's going to be issues. I don't know exactly what the flight, threshold is where they don't have flights or not, but there's going to be flight delays. Absolutely.
I think that's safe, either from heavy rain
right.
or the gusty winds. Now, tropical storm watches usually only go up along the shore, but because we have an inland tropical storm, those watches actually go all the way up to the I-95 corridor, so there could be, now Philly's not going to be as windy as Atlantic City, all right? I mean, but there could be some winds there, so I think Joe's absolutely right. So I think we agree on everything today, pretty much. Where, there will probably be some flight delays. I don't think they shut down airports all day and all night, but there will likely be some delays.
John Davis wants to know about beach erosion.
Yeah, anytime you have a tropical system, you're always, at least concerned for beach erosion. We did pretty good during Faye in the sense that there was nothing very, very, very localized, if anything at all, with the beach erosion. It's always something to watch out for. I don't know if this is going to be extremely significant just because the storm is moving. It's moving quickly. It'll probably be 25 miles an hour by the time it's getting to our area, so I don't anticipate severe beach erosion. You can get a couple of pockets, though. But again, I don't foresee anything widespread and significant.
Agreed. Fast movement and not a hurricane, so the intensity and track and timing of this, it's minor.
We do have someone. Eileen says, "Thanks for explaining without trying to scare people."
Great, that's our job. That's what we like to do.
Well, I mean, I will say there are other media outlets. I'm not going to name this, but I've always been anti-hype, just telling it as it is. And I think it was they would say COVID came,
yes,
disaster in the making, or something along those tracking.
Is that what it was?
COVID
Disaster
came.
in the making.
Something along those lines. And yes, there's COVID going on. All right, and obviously a landfalling hurricane, people in shelters. Obviously a hurricane's bad, a tropical storm's bad. You add COVID to it, it creates problems. But the music and the drums and the disaster in the making and COVID came. That's hype stuff. And I think that the most valuable meteorologists are the ones that tell it as it is. Hey, this is what we're going to get. This is when we're going to get it. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
None of the hype, naming, memes, all that other stuff that go with, unfortunately,
The memes are only for the nice weather. The memes are only when it's 75 and sunny. Then we can pop out a couple of memes. But none of this. Dan says it. I'll say it too. You want to trust your source. Make sure you know that person or that company that's bringing you the information. You want to make sure that they're a meteorologist. There's someone reputable. Could be Dan, could be myself. Whoever it is. Could be Palma. We can include her.
I'll share what YouTube posts.
Okay.
About that.
All right, that's fine. In Margate, you can go to Palma. But you always want to make sure you trust your source.
Well, how often, both of you can answer this, will you guys be following this storm and posting updates on either Facebook or Instagram? I know you're on.
Yeah, we try to get around. I'm pretty much eat, breathing, and sleeping it at this point.
Okay.
So I've been pretty consistent looking at things. Really this weekend, what I've been doing is taking some time to build these pretty detailed assets of, the who, what, where, whens, and whys of the storm. You can find that on our website. We did a Facebook Live, so some of you might see me from earlier, but we did a Facebook Live at 5 o'clock, breaking it all down.
And what's that website for everyone?
Yeah, pressafac.com/weather. There, or my Facebook page, you can look up my name, you'll see me there. So it's really been trying to bring you the latest. Twitter, it's just as needed. Hey, tropical storm watch is in effect. There is a heat advisory in effect. In fact, there still is for another half hour or so for the area. My thought is tomorrow. Probably going to do a little bit of live stuff for those of you who are always watching what we're doing at the press. Probably going to do some kind of live stream again during the afternoon hours. Maybe we could get some kind of interview with some local emergency officials. We'll have written coverage of it, and then Tuesday we're pretty much going to be all systems go. Live updates. Live. Maybe we'll be out in the field. We did that last time in Ventnor. We'll just keep you updated, and whether it could be me, it could be our newsroom staff who is going to be working on this as well. When weather is the big news player of the day, it's an all hands on deck situation. So we'll be making sure to bring you all the latest, power outages. Hey, the street's flooded. Hey, this trees down in the streets blocked off, et cetera, et cetera.
And you, Dan?
And I will say, when I was in Joe's position, I ate, slept, and breathed weather 24/7. And then a year and 4 months ago, I had a baby, and I ate, slept, and when Kenzie allowed me to. So I will say that Tidal Flooding Talk is my main social media outlet these days. Every Sunday, this time, whether or not there's a tropical storm, I will say Joe is the best person to follow as far as just the non-stop coverage. Which I used to do. I did it for like 10 years.
I'm following in his footsteps. That's what I've been saying. But no, and if you're watching the Lehigh Valley and over even in some parts of New Jersey as well, Dan, I'm guessing working at some point on Tuesday. Correct?
Oh, I am.
Yes. So you catch me there as well.
And monitoring the flooding. And again, farther inland you go, flooding's a bigger threat. Closer to the coast, yes, there'll be flooding. Some tidal flooding, some regular thunderstorm and heavy rain flooding. wind a little more of a concern, and the tornado potential will be highest right along the shore. So the farther inland you go, it's just mostly rain. The best chance for a tornado is probably like, Parkway corridor.
Yeah, Parkway corridor is a great way to put it. Absolutely.
Joe, a couple people asked you to repeat the website again.
Yeah, so it's www.pressivac.com.
I'll type it in here.
Oh, yeah, Paul will type it in there too. Pressivac.com/weather. You can even just go to Pressivac. I am sure at some point during the day tomorrow you'll see some kind of weather-related coverage. On Facebook we'll be posting. That's meteorologist Joe Martucci. Twitter is AC Press Martucci. Instagram is Joe Mart WX. So, I try to bring a little different flavor to each. Facebook will be posting less frequently but more in depth. Twitter will be your, quick hits. Instagram, we'll try to get some visuals out for you there as well.
I'm going to ask Joe a question now.
Yeah.
I've asked him off camera, but how is it wedding planning during COVID times? Another weather-related question to kind of wrap things up.
Yeah,
and congratulations.
Thank you.
Is it still on for the winter?
Yes, it is still on for January, and it's been interesting. We're pretty much in a wait and see. There's so many other people that I know, and I'm sure we've all known, who have had to postpone their wedding, sometimes even twice. It's really all contingent upon when when it's safe enough to do things indoors, and we can do so with a large, group of people. So it's kind of waiting in place. More the bachelor party is more the issue right now, Dan, because that's coming up at the end of the month, and we need to fix up a couple of things with that. So we had one place we were going to, but we can't go there right now because of quarantine restrictions. The other place we're looking at, it's a long story. Let's put it that way. It'll all get worked out. These things always work itself out. It'll be worked out one way or another.
Well, we wish you good luck during these challenging times. Any
Yeah.
more social media questions?
I don't see any new questions that I think we got to all of the questions. So.
All right, Tidal Flooding Talk, usually every Sunday. Due to my work schedule, I have to work next Sunday on WFMZ TV. It will be actually next Saturday here, this time 7 o'clock at the Irish Pub. And again, remember, their patio, probably not Tuesday, but every other day. They're open 7 days a week,
That's right.
11:30 a.m. to midnight. I mean, great full menu, full bar out there. You're right there, at the shore. Usually there's a sea breeze keeping you cooler than the mainland. In the spirit of COVID, you probably have glasses, you probably have shirts and sweatshirts, and
Hats.
I figured wanted to give you, I'm going to throw at you.
Okay, yes.
A couple of Irish Pub masks for you and your fiance.
Nice and soft too.
Courtesy of
Yeah,
Kathy
good,
Burke.
look.
The Burks are awesome here
Put
at
it
the Irish
on.
Pub.
Yeah.
And we are wearing masks. As soon as we're done the show, we're going out through the through the patio.
Okay.
We're wearing our masks. I got my Patriots mask. Tom Quirk has his Patriots mask. Do you have your Ravens one?
No, I have my plain blue one from Target, which has actually been phenomenal.
Okay.
2 of these for $4 has been pretty
Nice.
great.
I have a Philadelphia Flyers mask.
Oh, very nice.
I didn't bring it.
And they started playing this
I follow
weekend, right?
hockey, not so much.
That's fine. So am I, yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap things up. And again, Tidal Flooding Talk brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. Proud to be back here at the Irish Pub every weekend. Sunday, August 16th, we'll be back on Sunday nights. We have Bill McCord, Summers Point OEM lined up. Next week's guest is to be determined, but you can see everyone's social distanced and doing Tidal Flooding Talk in an informative but a safe and socially acceptable way in these times. Joe, always a great having you here.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Hopefully
Give
the
you another
seventh
elbow
time
again.
we're closer together.
Yes. Give you an elbow on the side. I don't know what we're doing here, but yes, it was great being here. Thank you guys so much for having me. It'll be a very busy couple of days ahead, but I'm sure on Saturday we'll do some kind of post-storm recap, right?
All right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right, we'll see you back here next Saturday night, 7 o'clock.